thank you for this invitation. And let me also acknowledge all of the veterans out here. From the uniform selection, I see we've got a few mature veterans that are out here, but it's great to be able to speak in front of you. Each one of you are heroes. I want to thank your families also for the support they gave you when you served on active duty. And again, thank you for your service to our country. It is an honor to be here, and it's especially humbling to be asked to talk when you do have so many heroes that stand here in the audience. Several months ago, I was fortunate enough to attend the ceremony here. Well, it was last October. It's just around the corner here, and it was the unveiling of a new plaque to honor 4 Londoners who had been killed while on active duty serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that day, I can remember sitting there, and I was touched. Truly touched by the feeling of community sacrifice, the feeling of loss that was in the air. And I watched their names being added to that very sacred monument over there. And I feel that same sense of community today. To see this many people out this early on Memorial Day is truly inspiration and truly a compliment to the community spirit of the town of Leesburg and the county's life. So give yourselves a round of applause. And I think it's very appropriate that this ceremony is taking place in this memorial I just spoke about. It's located here right here in the square, right under the shadows of the courthouse. Because it's this courthouse and the surrounding area, I think, that represent what our country believes in, and our country's laws, and our country's ethos. I think this area in brick and mortar vividly represents what the men and women who we are here today to honor gave their lives to defend. This represents our Constitution and the freedoms contained therein. Because we're here today to honor a very special group of heroes. We've already spoken about the veterans and on the active duty, but it's important to remember that although I stand here today representing all members of the active service, this is not our day. And while I recognize and I applaud each veteran and their family out there in the crowd, each one of them who served so nobly during their time, it's really not their day either. We on active duty have our service birthdays to celebrate, and the veterans have a dedicated day in November to honor their service. Today is a little different. Today is the day that we set aside to remember the young men and women who gave their lives in the United States Armed Forces over the years. This is a day to honor the ones who didn't come home. Now we sit here close to Washington, D.C., which is represents the seat of power in the United States of America. But I would argue that it's communities like Leesburg and it's counties like Loudoun that truly represent the essence of what it means to be in America. Because this is a town and this is a county where Americans have gone off to fight for freedom since the very earliest days of our country, since the early days of the American Revolution. And it's a town and a county that's seen more than its share of fallen warriors come home to their final rest. Warriors who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. It is from wonderful communities like this across the country, large communities, small communities, rural and urban, that where the sailors, the soldiers, the airmen, the Marine, the Coast Guardsmen come, who go forward in the service of the country, and some of whom ultimately give their lives so that our lives can be better. And I said it was young men and women who gave their lives because it is the young who sacrifice the most in war. It is the young who give up the most. It is the young who give up their tomorrows so that in our tomorrows we can live the time of freedom, the time of independence. They forfeit their families so that our families can grow up and thrive in a free and prosperous land. Now, it makes no difference in what conflict these people felt. They all fell for us. And today is a day to remember their courage, to remember their unselfishness, their devotion to duty, to remember the bravery that has sustained this country through all of its trials and tribulations, and will continue to sustain us in the trials yet to come. And what is our duty? Our duty is to remember. 2 years ago, as I served in Afghanistan, we held a memorial service for each and every one of our fallen warriors. We held it under Student on the Tarmac and sent him or her home to their families. We said goodbye, and we pledged to remember them always. And during that service, we often quoted the poet Lawrence Binyon, who wrote during World War I. And I quote, "They went with songs to battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. And they were staunch to the end, against odds uncounted. And they fell with faces towards their foe. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them." Unquote. Yes, we will remember them. And I tell you, it's our obligation to remember. It is a sacred trust between America and all who died to defend its ideals. A trust that says, despite your sacrifice, you will not be forgotten. Perhaps the best way to remember them is to understand the significance of their efforts. You only have to take a quick look at our history or watch the news today to understand the trials and tribulations going on in the world, and how fortunate we are as Americans because of the actions of those who have given their lives for us. Think about Loudoun County this afternoon. Think about our families. Think about all the friends out there, the businesses, our religious freedoms, the recreational opportunities we're all going to take advantage of later on today. Well, I tell you, we owe all of that to those young men and women who gave their lives. It is in our freedom, our daily lives that we take for granted, that we can feel, and we should feel, the depth of their sacrifice and the significance of their gift to us. It is in the freedom we enjoy that we can still see their faces. It is in the ideas of liberty and justice for all that we can find those people, not just names on a wall, but those people, the ones we should thank, the ones who guarantee with their lives our freedom to assemble, our freedom of speech, our freedom of worship, our freedom from repression, our freedom from want, our freedom from fear. They ensured with their blood our right to vote, our right to shape our own government, and yes, ultimately the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. So those fallen are with us today. They're not just names on a wall, they stand out among you. They stand out among you in the freedoms that we enjoy every day. And many of them didn't give their lives just for the freedom of the United States of America and our citizens. They did it for the world. They did it to expand freedom throughout the world. Men and women that we honor today, because of their sacrifice, have proven they're not just heroes to us, but they're heroes to people in countries around the world. From Korea to France, from Asia to Afghanistan, they are heroes. And one such hero, a Marine Sergeant William Stacy, he perhaps understood what it truly meant to be an American and the obligation he carried. He understood the price of freedom. Now, he was described by a journalist who was embedded with his unit in Afghanistan as, quote, a bright and concentrated flame. Within him that could cut through stone. His strength spelled death and failure for the enemy and gave life to his comrade. On January 23, 2012, Sergeant Stacy, then 23 years old, already on his fourth deployment to Afghanistan, was killed by an IED blast while walking patrol in Helmand Province. Now, like many others who have gone into combat before him, Sergeant Stacy had written a letter. He wrote a letter and sent it home, marked to be only read in the event of my death. Well, he didn't come home. Let me quote to you from his letter. He said, "If you're reading this, then I'm dead. And my death did not change the world. And it may be tough for you to justify its meaning at all. But there is greater meaning to it. Perhaps," he said, "I did not change the world. But there will be a child who will live because brave men and women left the security they enjoyed in their home country to come to his. And that child will learn in the new schools that we built for him. He will walk the streets unafraid. He will grow into a fine man who will pursue every opportunity his heart could desire. In short, he will have been given the gift of freedom, which I have enjoyed for so long. And if my life buys the safety of a child who perhaps someday could change the world, then I know it was all worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, where do we get such men and women as Sergeant Stacy? Where have we gotten countless other American heroes we're here to honor? Heroes, I tell you, who have indeed changed the world. So we owe it to those heroes that died, and the loved ones and their families that are left behind, to make sure their sacrifices are remembered. Sergeant Stacy believed his sacrifice was worth it. It's up to us to prove him right. Now, there are many things we can do in his honor and in their honor. Let me just share with you three quick ones. First of all is to understand their character and their dedication to public service. And to emulate that character and emulate that dedication to public service. To hold those examples of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, integrity, and personal courage high. Follow the example they set for us. You don't have to serve in a foreign land fighting those who want to take away liberties. You just have to embrace the responsibility of promoting service to one's community and country, and do it in the names of the heroes who have gone before you. You can do it by volunteering to help veterans who are still with us, assist a family who's grieving, help through the loss of a service member, visiting those injured, help the nation. Support the community by being more public-minded. Do it every day in your daily activities. Second, we can teach our young about the sacrifices of those that have gone before. We continue to gather on this special day, but every day of the year we should pay tribute to our fallen and to their families who have sacrificed so much for this country. Yes, it's good to make this day an annual reminder of the need to remember, but make every day a day to remember. Remember their families, remember their widows, their children, their parents, because those they have sacrificed so much as well. Long after the battlefield guns have been silenced, the bombs stop exploding, the children of our foreign warriors will be missing parents. The spouses will be without their life partners. Parents will have to continue to grieve for heroic sons and daughters that died much too early. Now, nobody can replace these fallen heroes, especially in the eyes of their families, but we can offer shoulders to cry on, assistance in children's education expenses, and assurance that loved ones will never, ever be forgotten. But lastly, I'll say this. What we can do for them perhaps the most is to simply enjoy the gift they've given us. Nothing satisfies you more, I think, than when you give a gift to someone than you watch them enjoy it. So today, in the spirit of those who we're honoring, I would say celebrate our freedom and acknowledge it and celebrate it. Take time to enjoy your liberty today with your families and friends. Take time to celebrate with the local community. And also take time to remember why you can do those wonderful things. Those gifts to you are from them. It's up to us to recognize those gifts and to appreciate our freedom. Today is all about remembering families, remembering losses, and what a better way to do that than celebrate the gifts those heroes have given us. It should be a day of reverent celebration. Now, my wife comes from Irish stock, and she's taught me many things over our nearly 40 years of marriage. I won't use that list and go on forever. But I will tell you one thing that she taught me. She taught me about Irish wakes. She said, you know, in Ireland, you don't have funerals, you have wakes. Funerals mourn the dead. Wakes celebrate their lives. So today is not a funeral for those heroes that have gone before us. Instead, it is a wake. It is a time for us to celebrate. It is time for us to celebrate and enjoy the gift they've given us, the freedom that's been passed down to each and every one of us. Again, I want to thank you for this opportunity of speaking today. And in closing, I'd just like to say that remembering those who served isn't just about what we say here today, but instead it's about what we do when we leave here. Remain committed to telling their story, supporting their families, and glorifying in the gift they've given us. So as you go around the corner a little bit later and take a look at the monuments, don't just see a stone monument. Instead, see the faces smiling faces, I would argue, of those who gave their lives in defense of our country. Leave here dedicated to emulating their character and celebrating the freedom that they've given us. So I think it is fitting, in fact, that our nation has selected the first weekend of the summer to celebrate such a day. What could be more fitting tribute to those men and women who died than the dedicated the day that gives birth to a new season? A season filled with fun, a season filled with warmth, a season filled with life. It's what they served for, it's what they fought for, it's what they died for. So remember, we mark today as a celebration and not mourning. Keep in mind the brave men and women of the nation who above all else believed and fought for ideals, because they did. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Thank you for helping to celebrate the lives and legacies of those who have given so much. I do want to thank the fallen. I know they're watching us, above us today, looking down. I want to thank them, and I want to tell them something, a message. Another poet wrote, "Rest easy. Sleep well, my brothers. Know that line is held. Your job is done. Rest easy, sleep well. Others have taken up where it is you fell. The line is held. Peace, peace, and farewell." Thank you for allowing me the honor of being here. May God bless the families of our fallen veterans. They've given so much to this country. May God bless our wounded and their families as well. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, Semper Fidelis.